So I think the other question to contemplate is, other than just dollars and cents or purchase price, what is the criteria for choosing, the ultimate partner? And I think it's really about making sure that as an entrepreneur, you want your legacy to be protected. And you want to make sure that you don't go through all of these processes, the due diligence, the countless meetings, the Zooms, the sharing of information. You want to make sure that you get a close out of it. And then you also want to make sure that your staff isn't freaking out during the process, and that they feel comfortable that the new iteration of the company will protect them and their family. So for me, it was really about not disrupting the business, not getting our customers or vendors or partners nervous about the fact that there was going to be a recapitalization of the business. And I think for me, that was really, really important beyond just pure purchase price. So for someone who I think is contemplating selling the business, a couple of things I would say. You cannot really be prepared for what's going to happen. The mechanics of the process, the due diligence, the evaluation of your business, the sharing of information, the legal NDAs, those are things you can read in a textbook. The process that you can't know about, and really nobody can really coach you that much on, is the emotional side of it. It's a separation. Your identity as the owner and founder of your business is suddenly being surgically removed. And now you're an outsider looking in, whether you remain on the board or whether you step away. And yes, the influx of capital is helpful, and it kind of changes the game, and there's some type of validation. But do not underestimate the emotional aspect of stepping away from something where you put your blood, sweat, and tears in. And I would say that was something that you really need to make sure that you come to grips with, because there's a lot of horror stories of people that have sold, have the money, but they regret the process. So make sure that you're really, really, truly ready for this to occur. I had to do it all over again. What would I do differently? Well, I don't think I would do much differently, because I think I chose the right legal and investment banking partners. I think I had my family behind me. So in that regard, I think we had the right subject matter experts in place. I think that's really important, because if you don't get that right, it's going to cost you a lot of time, energy, and money. I think in terms of just getting ready for it, if I had to do it again, maybe I would have spent really more time just in reflection about what would I do specifically Monday morning at 9 a.m. after the transaction. When it's over, what am I going to do? And I think a lot of people struggle because you're in a routine. You have a certain meetings or people that you talk to, and suddenly that goes away. So you want to really think about what's next before you go through the process, because I think it makes the transition that much easier for anybody who makes a decision to sell their business. So it's been what now, almost 18 months since we had the closing of the business. I now sit on the board of directors, which was an interesting process for me. I've never been in a board seat before. I've always been the one who banged the gavel, the CEO, the founder, and now to be part of a collective group was an interesting transition for me. We've retained all the C-suite, which I think is really important. I think that's because we handled it the right way. We were transparent with people, and we put together some really, really good incentives for them to remain in place. In terms of the business, I think it's got a huge addressable market. There's some new technology advancements that are happening within the context of the business. And I think when you sell your business, you've got a certain vision for where the business is going. Hopefully you bring in people that bring in other perspectives or ideas or have done it before and can kind of accelerate and expand what you created as your legacy. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the new iteration of leadership at Career Team, my former company, does, and how they can help accelerate my and my family's legacy in the process. In terms of just general advice to anybody contemplating selling their business, I think of selling your business as the opposite of reading a book. You start a book from chapter 1 and you end. When you have a business, I think I've learned you start from the end. At some point in time, you're either going to sell, the business is going to be transacted, and you want to kind of work backwards. A lot of times I was so caught up in running and managing and protecting the business and taking care of my employees and thinking about what's next and what investment to make that I really didn't contemplate at some point in time what life would be like after I stepped away from that identity as the CEO and founder. And I would really advise people to kind of find some mentors or people outside your normal circle, because you get a lot of people in your company that look up to you, that are your subordinates in all respects. And I think a lot of the people that I've talked to that have sold have never really found another network of somebody they can bounce ideas off. So I would highly encourage anybody who is an entrepreneur that's contemplating selling their business, even before they start the process, to talk to people who have gone through it, pick their brains, and see if there's any advice and or counsel that they can gain, because it will make the process that much easier. So when it comes to selecting your investment banker, it really becomes important that you get it right. And many people don't. In my case, I interviewed 3 really high quality groups. And at the end of the day, I chose CMG. And the reason why I chose them is because beyond their expertise and the promises of who else they had worked with and what kind of valuations they got, I felt a strong connection to them. I felt like they really cared about me and my family above and beyond just seeing me as a transaction or another client. And the reason why I know that is the way they asked me questions. They wanted to come and understand who are my children. They wanted to understand what my wife thought about it. They wanted to understand where I lived, what my plans were. There was a lot of questions that went beyond a transactional activity. And when you have an organization like CMG who takes an interest in you beyond just as a dollar and cents transaction, that makes the process work really, really well. When I went to visit them at their corporate office, they brought the team in, we had luncheon. It was a casual, but very family oriented, vibe, you could tell. And for me, that was really important, that I knew I could pick up the phone and have a conversation with them about something that had nothing to do with, due diligence, or nothing to do with enterprise value, or nothing to do with working capital calculations. When you have that kind of, that metaphoric hug that you get from a Carter Morse, I think that you can't go wrong. And for me, I would say if you're contemplating selling your business, definitely take a look at CMG.